Now, this week I'm really excited for the topics that I'm going to be discussing, but first I want to talk about the new crossover comic between the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Naruto. Now, this is a 4-issue comic that just wrapped up at the start of this month. Now, I really wanted to discuss this because, in my opinion, I have always been somebody that loves crossovers, but especially when they're in a comic format, they're a lot more expressive because, animation costs a whole lot and CGI just kind of looks bad. So comics are always a really good medium to have these very expressive, very detailed crossovers. Now, to get into this comic, I won't go into too many spoilers because I want you all to go out of your way to look into this comic yourself. But this isn't a TMNT universe, and this is not a Naruto universe. This is something somewhere in the middle. So essentially, New York City is the Big Apple Village, and the Big Apple Village is one in this version of Earth, which also hosts the Hidden Leaf Village. And with the fact that this was only a 4-issue comic, there wasn't a lot to dig into when it comes to character interactions and plot points and overall progression, because everything felt pretty rushed because, they only have 4 issues with 20 pages each. But what I will say is they at least use the pages effectively when it comes to the art style and the overall presentation of each character. However, when it comes to the creative writing of this comic, it's kind of lackluster to me just a little bit. Mostly because, Naruto doesn't really talk like he would in the show. This is more of a TMNT written comic book featuring a Naruto world build rather than it be a creative combination of both TMNT and Naruto. Now, I will say I do appreciate that we got pre-time skip Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi, as once we get to post-time skip and hell even Boruto, the power scaling gets way too broken, and with how the power scaling is in TMNT, you needed to bring it back to the OG Naruto crew. Now, the few things I will mention about this is at least the choreography of the fights is pretty good, and how the Turtles eventually work together with Team 7 is a little creative, if not me wanting more of it. Now, the one weird thing is the very quick and rushed backstory that was talked about between Splinter and the Turtles and Shredder as well, because Shredder's not even Shredder until the end of the comic. And he's known as Saki, which I felt was a really interesting choice. You don't really get a lot of TMNT media that showcases Shredder as just the guy. We always see him as already established as the Shredder, as the head of the Foot Clan. But I will say the one extra little bit about this comic is the introduction of a Fox character named Alopex. And to be honest, this kind of gets me more interested to read a TMNT ninja comic than it is me seeing more from this 4-issue crossover. I still love it, but man, would it be cool to see TMNT in a ninja-based society like old Japan style. It'd be really cool. Now, the one cardinal sin of this TMNT comic is they messed it up. They messed up the one iconic line from this series. Of course, they got Cowabunga, and of course, everybody got their licks in from using the Raikiri, the Rasengan, the Kamui, to Sakura showing why she's a powerhouse, because she literally got Raphael intimidated. And if you remember Raphael, he's the I'm gonna kill you guy. But the one cardinal sin is we didn't get pizza time. Now, that is a really small point of conjecture for me, but at the same time, it was so easy. It was right there. It was literally on a silver platter. And just like this whole comic book, it's a great idea and cool execution, but pretty subpar follow through. But I think this is pretty much everything I have to discuss when it comes to the TMNT Naruto comic. And I will say it was really fun to look into this, and it was really cool, spoiler alert, to know that Kakashi knows who Splinter is, or at least knew who Splinter's master was. Which again, I would love to see the TMNT's universe and its mythos showcased in a Japan-based ninja society. That'd be so cool. But at this point, I think it's time for me to send it back to me and my friends as we discuss Clair Obscure Expedition 33.